All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is YouTube. This is Pastor Dow. The world that we live in is a credit-based system. Listen to me very closely, and hopefully that you'll receive a little bit of education, or at least I can do whatever I can to make my contribution to society in order to try to affect change. Because after all, the Bible says in John 8:32, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall do what? It shall what? Make you free, or set you free. And a lot of times we need to be free. So think about this under this light right here. Credit. All right. Credit is basically borrowing prosperity from the future. All right. Not the past, but the future. And our monetary system in this society right here, it's obvious that we are a credit-based system. And in being a credit-based system, we are debtors. Can you imagine the most powerful country in the free world is in hock and in debt to a communist country called China? Well, think about this. You're not going to receive good financial advice from any broker. You're not going to receive any good financial advice from anybody on Wall Street, and especially those who are granted privileges, such as insider trader secrets. And then they're going to write books because they've been privileged. And they're going to tell you about how to get prosperity. It's all a dog and pony show. But it's simple. It's really, truly simple. The borrower is a slave to the lender. Think about this for a second. Pastor Dow is a new concept for you. Now, it's not nothing new at all. It's actually old, but it could be new since it's presented to your mind here this morning. Let's say you go out and you go to work, and all you have to do is pay for living expenses. I mean, a roof over your head, transportation, food. Let's say it's all you had going out of your paycheck. How prosperous could you be regardless of the amount of money that you make? I mean, after all, rich people, they have extraordinary amount of mansions. I mean, extraordinary size homes. Yet it's still serving the purpose of what? A roof over their head. It's just that some people have toys, and their toys are greater toys than ours, but still, nevertheless, an automobile function is to get you from one place to another. Now, how you get there is another perspective or point of view. But think about this for a second. If you stop playing the dog and pony show that they teach you, you know what I mean? Most people live from paycheck to paycheck. In other words, the society is going to do everything that it can to get you to adopt this belief system. And this belief system is, okay, if you make a certain amount of money, and what you try to do is you try to make sure that your bills can cover the amount of money that you're making, rather than and I think the best thing to do for me, give an example. Let's just use numbers here for a second. All right. Let's say you make $2,000 a month. All right. Let's say you make $2,000 a month, and rent is $500. Light bills $200. Car notes $300. All right. So right now we're out $1,000. Okay. And then your food bill, let's say it's another $500. So we have $500 left over in the kitty in order to play with each month. Now watch this. Suppose that you had a couple of credit cards, all right, and they're asking you for the minimum payment of $50 a piece. Okay, so now all we have left over is $400, and of course that has to go into the gas tank, and that could be $200 a month considering the gas prices today. All we have left over now is $200. All right, out of $2,000, that's all we have left over. Okay. Now think about this for a second. Suppose if you lived in such a manner, in such a way, rather than trying to see how much money you have left over, because many of you would take, okay, I've got $200 left over. So many of you, what you would do is go out and you'll have a lust of the eye, and you'll see something, man, I'll buy that, and you go buy it on credit. And the next thing you know, you have to pay another $25 or $50 minimum payment a month. Now you're down to $150, and that's all you have left to pay over, or that's all you have left to so-called play with. And many are not thinking about saving whatsoever at all. And so you've lived within your means, and then pretty soon you're going to be living with outside your means, because there's something that's going to come up. Maybe a flat tire, or You know, maybe you have to replace a water heater, and then you have to go borrow more credit from the credit cards that you have. And next thing you know, you don't even have that $150 left over anymore. And now you have fell into the trap of slavery from living a paycheck to paycheck. Suppose you change your mindset. Suppose you change your attitude and your outlook, and you just even consider adopting the things that I say. Because you see, most of us, we're living off the benefit or the welfare of others, be it the government or somebody else who has chosen to have mercy upon us and to receive us into everlasting habitations. And most of us would never really truly understand what it means to actually fend for ourselves and provide for our own. Most of us have got the attitude, I'm going to see whatever I can get from others and step on, use, and abuse others in order to get by. And most of us have the welfare mentality and stuff that if something goes wrong with me, then I'll just saddle all the lack of my responsibility and the lack of me not being able to make the right choices and decisions and stuff on somebody else who is more responsible than I. And we begin to play on people's emotions, and we use guilt, shame, and condemnation in order to try to manipulate other people to actually give to us because of our lack of discernment, our lack of responsibility, our lack of being able to control our own selves. And that's how the world, that's what the world is, and that's what we're faced with. But suppose you change your attitude, you downsize your life, all right? Let's say instead of living in a $500 a month home, you have still got this $200,000 a month. Let's say you turn around and you move to a $300 a month home. Now, are you going to have more space and more room? Chances are not. Chances are you're going to have to make sacrifices. And let's suppose that you make cuts, you know, instead of just turn around and having an electric bill that's $200 a month. I suppose you just make some choices and decisions to get that bill down to $100 a month. Think about that. Now you get $400 and you still got, what, $1,600 to play with? All right, now think about this for a second. Suppose that you start working diligently, paying off your credit cards, and start from the lowest, so that way you can see that you're making progress. Because if you try to start at the highest and there's still no movement, you still have these credit card bills, you're ultimately going to get frustrated. You're going to lose heart, and then you're going to fall back off into the debt-based system again. Suppose you paid off all your credit cards and you had no more credit left, and you still look where you're still at. You're still at $1,600. And suppose you had to put gas in the gas tank, rather than doing all this extracurricular activity and running around all over the place and stuff in order to try to fulfill the lust of the flesh. Suppose you discipline yourself, and rather than putting $200 a month, you actually chart your courses and stuff, and plan ahead and determine where you're going to go. And you know what you also do, you'll actually have your vehicle to last longer because you have less wear and tear. You have $100 a month, so now you're up to $1,500. Let's say that you have to play over. You begin to see this picture right here. It's a good picture, isn't it? Now you'll become in control of your life. You are in control of your life, and guess what? With $1,500 left over and stuff, and you have more money to be able to do the things that you could not do before because you were in control, because you're not playing the credit-based system thing. You can't trust the government. I mean, after all, the government can't even balance its checkbook. And every year, every 2 to 4 years and stuff, we see this dog and pony show about everybody's talking about balancing the budget and stuff, and they can't balance it because they don't have the stomach nor the will to balance it, because it is a credit-based system, and they can print money into oblivion. They can keep on stretching this thing out to oblivion and selling you and your children and your children's children, put you in hock into the future for many generations to come. You could take that extra $1,500 and probably put $500 a month if you choose to in tangible assets, i.e. gold, silver. Or guess what you could do? You could curb your grocery bill. And I think that's something I left out, but you could curb your grocery bill by creating some raised beds, growing some food, growing your own food. You know, I know it's a new concept and stuff, and you actually take responsibility for your health, because you'll be caring for your health, because you'll be growing your own food, and you know it's out without the GMO, the pesticides, the herbicides, the chemicals, the chlorine, the fluoride, the mercury, and everything else, the chemical trails, you know, put some plastic over it, and everything else that they're using to kill us as a society. Man, but all this that I'm talking about, you can't be lazy. You must work. You have to do something. And neither can you depend on the welfare or the generosity or the benefit of others. Other people are not responsible for your living, whether you like it or not. I understand that this welfare mentality is created an illusion in your life to where you think other people are responsible for you, but they're really truly not. And most of us, believe it or not, we really truly are living off the benevolence of other people and stuff. And even at that, we're very dishonorable and disrespectful. And most of us, as the old saying goes, we never know what we got until it's gone. That's an accepted word in society, but the truth is, we knew exactly what we had. We just thought that it was always going to be there. That is the truth. You know I'm telling the truth. So there are going to be changes, societal, social orders and changes and stuff, but hey, you're ultimately responsible for your own changes in life. And if you start making these changes, you can actually live a prosperous life without being under the tyranny of debt. Because debt is death. And it sure would be nice to be able to have, 6 months savings and stuff of living expenses and stuff in case you lose your job or your job is gone. And by the way, let me rephrase that. You are not losing your job because it wasn't your job to begin with in the first place. It was actually somebody providing a job for you, and you're giving your services over to them. So, you people, you got to change your mind because, these corporations, these people don't think the way you think and stuff. It's not your job. Just like when you receive entertainment, my football team, my team won. What kind of investment do you have in that team? You are paying for entertainment. You are paying and you are actually digging yourself in a deeper hole in order to be entertained. It's not your team. You have no stock. You have nothing in that team whatsoever at all. You actually pay and you contribute for your fun. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. I know you hate that. Yes, you do. And your so-called perceived downtime entertainment. That's what you do. But unless you actually gonna become proactive to change your mind, you're not gonna understand what I'm saying. As a matter of fact, I'm somebody of an alternate conscience. I think way outside of the box. But I do know one thing: the choices and decisions that I have made in life. And not only has it been able to benefit me, but it's able to benefit everyone else who chooses to follow this particular social order that I am promoting. And I get all my information from the good book, the Bible. But can you imagine having anywhere between $1,500 and $1,000 a month of living expenses left over? And watch this. How much stress or stress less, if that's even a word, your life would be if you wake up in the morning and realize you have all this capital and you don't have to live on credit. So if the water heater did break, guess what? Instead of just buying it on credit, you could just go pay for the whole thing. If something break down on your car, you buy a new tire, guess what? You just go buy a brand new tire and get it done with. And look how that will affect your mind, the freedom and the liberty. So you've got to come outside of the order because they're going to advertise you half to death. Just the other day I was on YouTube. Every time I turn around, Toyota is putting an extraordinary amount of money to put subliminal messages in your mind to go out and buy a Toyota Camry. You probably have seen them. And that thing looks pretty good too. But after all, it's a hunk of iron. It's going to depreciate in value. That's why you don't see Pastor Dow buying brand new vehicles. I just don't do it. People... people are remarkable. What are you doing at the BMW Mercedes deals? Because I have a BMW and I have a Mercedes. But the difference in my life is it's not just my BMW, my Mercedes. Matter of fact, I have 30 people that live on this community with me. And I want them responsible. Any one of them can drive it anytime they want. It's our BMW and our Mercedes. But we don't go out and do like you do. We don't go borrow from the future and try to spend $50, $60, $70, $80, $90,000 on a vehicle. What Pastor Dow do is wait about 8, 9, 10 years. And then I go out and buy the vehicle. And I can usually get it for well under either $15,000 or under. And if I have to actually buy a vehicle, and if we don't have that kind of money laying around because we have money invested in other areas, we usually have the thing paid off in 6 months or a year, and it's ours. And I can still drive a nice vehicle. It's just that it's a little bit older. I don't care about the new. If I want it to be new, I just go to AutoZone and buy some new car scent and spray it in there. Hey! But the car's new to me. It's about changing your ideas, changing your mindset. If you want to be wise, listen to a wise man. You want to be a fool, listen to a fool. You do not take financial advice from someone who does not pay their rent or their mortgage, or is an extraordinary amount of debt, who have liens and all this other stuff. You don't take financial advice from people who are in debt. That's just nonsensical. It's just literally, truly does not make any sense whatsoever at all. But imagine how you could live, and imagine how much you could invest in tangible assets, food, clothing, gold, silver. You could have a store of wealth for your future, and not only your future, but a future, because after all, you as the parent, you should be laying up for your children, providing that you have responsible children. Because if you don't have responsible children, I can suppose you just going to take the same attitude that Abraham had before Isaac came, isn't it? You're going to just find someone who is worthy of the vocation wherewith you were called, and leave your health, your wealth, back to someone of the mindset and the personal character of Eleazar. And there's very few people left like in this generation. Shalom. Have a good